You're watching the hard facts at the CNN News 18 and Federal Bank Primetime Studios. Viewers, Swati Maliwal has reacted on the AAP's allegations. The AAP, of course, just held a press conference. Atishi came out and addressed that press conference saying that Swati Maliwal was a pawn in the BJP's hands. And now Swati Maliwal has come out and reacted to the AAP's charges. She's hit back at AAP Minister Atishi. She says goon Bibhav is threatening the party. He is blackmailing the party, and that's the reason why. Perhaps you through a few minutes later, but let me quickly open this up because there are some very specific questions that need to be asked here. And the first and foremost question that needs to be asked is that can Mr. Kejriwal himself, is he above any scrutiny in this matter? And we must first go about this from a legal perspective, and I want to begin with Ishkaran Bhandari first. Ishkaran Bhandari, I know that the POSH guidelines do not apply specifically to political parties, but there are the Vishaka guidelines. And the Vishaka guidelines, decade after its enactments, the Supreme Court had issued directions to ensure better implementation of the POSH Act and had therefore made it all-encompassing, all-embalming. Can you reflect on the specificities of the obligations that an individual who runs an enterprise, whatever that might be, has towards women's safety at the workplace?
Rahul, we are way beyond that stage because there is an FIR in this case which has already been lodged under the penal law. So we are way beyond those guidelines. Please understand, let's start with the first consequence of this. If you remember the interim bail order of the Supreme Court in Arvind Kejriwal's case, an extraordinary order, and we had a debate on that. Paragraph 15 of that order recalls that there have been serious allegations, but he is not being convicted. He does not have criminal antecedents. He is not a threat to society. Those two were part of paragraph 15 while giving this extraordinary relief to Mr. Kejriwal. Now this case, as is coming out, imagine in the capital we are having the Chief Minister's house. A crime scene is being recreated there. What shame for the nation to have a Chief Minister's house to be a crime scene. Let's come to part number 3. So often in criminal law, pressure is put on the victim. What was Sanjay Singh's statement day one? Was it the possibility that please do not go and register the FIR and we will say something happened with you, because those are admissions he's making on record that some things happened with the victim in this case. What's the fourth point? The way the minister has come out and has tried to do victim blaming and character assassination that flies in face of all the Supreme Court judgments on how a victim of an assault is to be treated. There is 354B in this, where the victim is saying that my shirt was, and I repeat the lines, his shirt was deliberately pulled up. Not it got pulled up in a scuffle. The shirt was deliberately pulled up. The buttons broke. And one second, I'll just read it. My shirt buttons opened and shirt flew up. He brutally dragged me and deliberately pulled up my shirt. These are very serious allegations being made in the Chief Minister's house. And the worst part I find in this, in how they're trying to victim blame, is how they release an edited video clip. If you have video clips, why aren't you releasing the entirety of the video? Why are you doing editing of the video clip? Why are you saying that the victim is a pawn in X's hand or Y's hand? This phone call was made then and there. The complaint came later. So the Rajya Sabha MP is making a complaint. Another Rajya Sabha MP, Sanjay Singh, is confirming something happened. Yet today, when an FIR is launched, and this may travel, because the question will arise, the PA had nothing to gain personally. Was he acting on instructions? Was it a strategy to discredit her? Was it something to punish her for? Was whatever the motivation be? And those where the guidelines would also come in, as you are saying. But this is now criminal law in motion. I think it's way more serious than any guideline or POSH Act. This is a case of arrest. This is a case of seizing all footage because powerful people, ministers no less, are coming out and blaming the victim or trying to discredit the victim, which is hampering with the investigation, which is witness tampering, which is influencing the witness. You see all the officers there. A CM's officers are witness in this case. And one of the basis of arrest is that you don't tamper with evidence, you don't release evidence, you don't discredit the investigation, you don't try to intimidate the people, you don't try to coerce the witnesses. So all those, I will not be surprised if soon we have arrests in this case, because it's an extremely serious case for which FIR is registered.
Let me bring in Mr. Dehadrai also. Mr. Dehadrai, do you believe that the CM is above scrutiny here?
Rahul, thank you for having me on your show. Right at the outset, I could not disagree more vehemently. The CM here seems to be completely culpable himself. Look at the playbook. There is this entire effort that is being made somehow or the other to discredit this victim. I mean, it takes a lot of effort and courage to come out with a statement like this. And then immediately after this poor lady comes out with her statement and, she narrates her horrifying ordeal, a few things are confirmed. One, she certainly was in the house of the chief minister. She did make a PCR call from there. You have this other person involved who's the PA of the chief minister, who has allegedly assaulted her, who has, by the way, criminal antecedents himself. There's a 2007 case in which he was booked under Section 353 for intimidating a public servant from carrying on his duty, for which he lost his job very recently. So you have all of this, this mess and this entire effort that is being made to somehow or the other protect the chief minister. Now I ask myself this question: if this assault has happened inside the home of the chief minister, he's possibly heard all of this, this ruckus going on downstairs. He not only doesn't come down to try and help this person or to find out what's going on, but now publicly, it's been more than 3 days, he hasn't uttered a single statement about what's going on. And he's got all of his minions around him talking about this issue. So what you said earlier, I was listening very carefully, and what Dr. Ranganathan said. This is a case where the Delhi police really needs to step up and properly investigate this. They need to seize the CCTV evidence. They need to go and question the chief minister. Why is he being shielded and protected in this manner? And why should we disbelieve this lady's version? It seems very, it seems very credible to me, if you ask me. You have these 4 or 5 large policemen. You have this Bibhav Kumar. They're all threatening her. They've seemingly ganged up on her. And why should we discredit what she said? That's a matter of investigation. The law is that if you make certain allegations, then prima facie, if those allegations emanate from your complaint, an FIR has to be registered and an investigation needs to be done. And one last point, Rahul. This is not, according to me, a case where an attempt to commit culpable homicide should be registered. This is a case where attempt to murder should have been registered. This is a big man, a large man who's allegedly beaten up this lady. She's hit her head in the process on a table. According to me, there is knowledge and intention on the part of the person who's done it. And the Supreme Court, in a very recent judgment in 2023, has in fact held that there has to be intention coupled with an overt act for there to be an attempt to commit murder. In my view, all of those ingredients are made out, and I do not understand why this rather mild FIR has been registered against Bibhav Kumar. And one last thing. The phone call and call records between Bibhav Kumar and the Chief Minister most certainly should be checked. And for that, you need to bring in the Chief Minister, Arvind Kejriwal, into the net of investigation to find out what the correct facts are. And none of that seems to be happening.
Okay, let me bring in Sumit Chandar. Mr. Chandar, how do you respond to the two views put forth by Mr. Bhandari and Mr. Dehadrai, that the Chief Minister is also under scrutiny here, legally?
Yes, so with due respect to whatever has been said by my learned friends, let us stick to the facts at hand today. There is an FIR against Bibhav Kumar. There are allegations of outraging the modesty, criminal intimidation, insult to the modesty, and causing of hurt. Now, those are allegations, one against Mr. Bibhav Kumar. The only thing that now comes up is those allegations are made up in the house of the current chief minister. And only for that reason, should he now be included in the investigation and be treated for abetment in the
No.
7 IPC talks about abetment. I'll come, Ishkar, and I'll answer what I can predict what you're going to say on this. But Section 107 abetment has also certain rules. It's only when if at all, the Arvind Kejriwal in this case knew and approved that assault, whether he ordered it, whether he instigated it, no. In fact, if you look at the instigation part, it actually comes from Swati, as can be seen in the video. Now, if that instigation, if somebody is responding and case is not the Chief Minister, let me be very clear. It's only one Mr. Bibhav Kumar. Then the action has to be taken and investigation is already in process. So I don't see any reason here.
Okay.
And
very quickly, let's get Mr. Bhandari to respond to you. Yes, Mr. Bhandari.
Firstly, I think the criminal law has traveled very far from the days you could say a woman instigated a crime in which her shirt was torn or she was unbuttoned, etc., etc. We are way past that stage. We don't need to go into all those judgments. The second aspect, which is very important here, is that it is not only that it was in the Chief Minister's house, it is that the person was a PA of the Chief Minister. The third aspect is this person has been accused of similar crimes of beating up, I think, the Chief Secretary's case, if I'm not wrong, no less than an IS officer. He was involved in that or some other case he was involved in. The fourth aspect herein is who is the beneficiary of all this? Why was it being done? So there are various aspects to this, and that is why at the stage of investigation and how the entire cabinet, or rather the most senior member of the cabinet now that Mr. Sisodia is in jail, Ms. Atishi Marlina has come out and has castrated the victim, shows it is flowing from someplace. Who gave the instruction to the minister to do this press conference? That also would need to be seen. That instruction has to obviously come from the party bosses or the chief minister. So there are various things here. The entire CCTV footage has to be seized. The mobile phones of people recording have to be seen. What instructions were given by the chief minister to the PA, to the security staff, to everybody has to be seen.
Well, viewers, this is not over. Bar the shouting. This is not over at all. Thank you, gentlemen, for tuning in. But let me quickly tell you, viewers, that the Supreme Court had clearly issued directions to ensure the enforcement of the POSH Act in the interest of working women across the country. The bench issued the following directions in its judgment. In a time-bound manner, the Union of India, all state governments and union territories are directed to verify whether all the concerned ministries, departments, government organizations, authorities, public sector undertakings, institutions, every institution, bodies, etc., have constituted committees in accordance with the POSH Act. Why did not Mr. Kejriwal quickly launch an investigation under this act and form an ICC? We don't know, viewers. I leave it at this. Lots more coming up. Don't go away.